Meet Sam, who likes to kick butts.
Before we begin, I'd like to mention that around 95% of my viewers are not subscribed. If you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing to the channel and like the video. Your support means a lot, and so I decided to create a 2D shooting game because I have nothing else to do. One of the biggest challenges I face is animation. When it comes to animation, I am a noob. Whenever I try to create animation, it looks like garbage. And so I did some research and found out that you can actually convert 3D animations to 2D pixel art animation. One of the benefits of this approach is we have the Mixamo animation library available. So we just have to add our model to the Mixamo website and we will get the animation we want. Also, the Deem Dead Cells uses the same approach for animation, but they are using some custom software to do that. But fear not, as we have Blender in our arsenal. Blender can actually convert 3D to pixel art. Now, you can skip these parts if you don't want to delve into technical stuff. To begin, open Blender and import your animated 3D model, then set up the camera accordingly. After that, add an HDRI image to the world properties. These will add that natural lighting to your sprite. You can obtain HDRI images from websites like Polyhaven. I prefer using Small Studio HDRI image. Then click on the world properties icon and add or open your downloaded HDRI image. Then switch to the shading view to see the added HDRI image we just added. Now, when you render the image, you'll get the player with the background containing the HDRI image. To make the background transparent, click on the render icon. Navigate to the film section and toggle the transparency option. Now, if you render the image, you'll get it without the background. Next, to convert it to pixel art, you need to adjust the output resolution first. Now, currently, my resolution is set to 1000 by 1000 pixels, so reduce it to something like 64 pixels or any based on your desired goal. Next, set up the compositing node that will convert your 3D model into pixel art. I provided a link below for the compositing node setup. Navigate to the compositing node section and create the compositing node. Play with the values to achieve the desired result. Once set up, rendering the image will get a pixelated version of our 3D model. And this is a one-time setup. And from now on, you just need to place your animation and render as many animations as you want. After that, I usually use Sprite to correct some pixel values and also to pack my index sequence into one sprite file. Now, the animation process is simple. I just need to acquire the animation from Mixamo and convert it to pixel art. Now, let's fire up Unity and create a new project. After setting up the project, I quickly write some lines of code to implement player movement. Our player, let's call him Sam, can run, jump, slide, wall slide, and even perform flips. If you're wondering why my animation state is so clean and collision-free, it's because I'm using a state machine and different technique for animation. You can click on the I button for more information, or check out the link provided in the description, where I explain the animation process in detail for 2D games. Now, I want Sam to face towards a direction of the mouse cursor, but currently he cannot do so because we're using a frame-based approach where animations are fixed and cannot be manipulated during runtime. So to address this, I did what most people would do. I choked his head off. Now that Sam has no head, the issue is resolved. Just kidding. Instead, I added his head as a separate object so that it could rotate independently of the animation. Now, it's time to add particles. So I used Unity's particle system and added some particle effects into the game. Because as Devlog Devin says, the more particles, the better the game. Then I implemented a gun system similar to CS:GO, where you can purchase primary and secondary guns. If you already have a gun, San will throw the previous one and also can pick up from the floor. The primary guns will consist of rifles, while the secondary guns will be pistols. Now it's time to introduce some enemies. I created 2 types of enemies using the same techniques. Then I wrote some code to give these dummies some intelligence. Now they can shoot at Sam, and eventually Sam will die. Following that, I worked on creating some level designs. Additionally, I implemented a dialogue system allowing players to interact with the sheriff, who eventually betrays us at the end. I also added small systems like lifts, explosions, and saving points. And here's the final result. Although these techniques save a lot of time in animation, there are some considerations to keep in mind. For instance, the file size increases as we need to store image files for each animation, which can impact the overall size of the game. Additionally, if you plan to modify your character's animations during runtime, I would advise not to use these techniques. And that's it for today's video. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.